The Valdery War College had produced the finest military minds in the Eastern Spiral for 600 years. Its graduates commanded fleets that had ended wars in weeks. Its tactical curriculum had been translated into 30 languages and adopted by 11 species. Its simulation center ran on the most sophisticated combat modeling software ever constructed, capable of replicating the behavior of any known species fleet doctrine down to individual ship reaction times, fuel consumption curves, and commander psychology profiles. 10,000 simulations against human fleet doctrine, 10,000 losses. Commandant Severus, four-armed, silver-scaled, decorated with the kind of military honors that took centuries to accumulate, sat in his office and stared at the number like it had personally insulted him. His best students, his best faculty, guest commanders from 6 allied species, some of them legends in their own right. He had run scenarios where the human fleet was outnumbered 5 to 1, 10 to 1. He had given his commanders perfect intelligence, optimal positioning, first strike capability. They lost anyway, every single time, in ways that were different enough from each other that his analysts couldn't find a pattern, and similar enough in outcome that the conclusion was impossible to escape. He had exhausted every internal option, which left one option remaining, and it was the most uncomfortable one. He invited a human. Admiral Grace Nakamura arrived alone, which Severus had not expected. No staff, no attaché. She carried a single data tablet and a coffee cup that appeared to be a permanent extension of her right hand, and she moved through the War College's corridors with the relaxed attentiveness of someone on a pleasant walk who was also memorizing everything. She was younger than Severus had expected. That was the first thing. The second thing was her eyes, the way they moved, cataloging, quiet, missing nothing. Commandant. She shook his hand, the human greeting firm and brief. Thank you for the invitation. I've heard good things about your program. We have a problem, Severus said, because he was a military man and saw no value in elaborate approach. 10,000 simulations. We cannot defeat a human fleet. I need to understand what we're doing wrong. Nakamura sipped her coffee. Can I watch one first? Comment the word simulate, if you already know what she's about to see. They ran Scenario 4, a favorite of the faculty, considered the strongest tactical situation in their catalog. Valdery fleet, 3 to 1 numerical advantage, perfect sensor picture, human fleet caught in a supply corridor with limited maneuver room. Severus had won this scenario against every other species they'd modeled. Against humans they'd run it 200 times, 200 losses. Nakamura stood at the observation rail above the simulation floor and watched the holographic fleets engage in silence. She held her coffee in both hands. Her expression was pleasant and unreadable. The simulation ran 11 minutes before the Valdery fleet collapsed, and Severus watched Nakamura the entire time instead of watching the battle, because her face was more informative. He saw the moment she understood what she was seeing about 90 seconds in, a small shift around her eyes, a slight tilt of her head. Then, at the 4-minute mark, she laughed. Not unkindly, not with condescension. It was genuine, quiet, the laugh of someone who had just seen a joke land that they'd heard the setup to before. She covered it quickly, glanced at Severus apologetically, and looked back at the simulation. When it ended, Valdery fleet shattered, human fleet at 70% strength and holding the corridor. She turned to face him. You keep trying to win, she said. Severus waited. Every maneuver your commanders made was oriented toward a victory condition. Nakamura continued, gesturing at the now dark simulation floor. Capture the corridor, destroy the enemy fleet, achieve the objective. She set her coffee down on the railing. Human fleet doctrine doesn't work that way. Our commanders aren't trying to win. They're trying to make the battle cost more than it's worth. That is the same thing, Severus said carefully. It really isn't. She picked up his tactical tablet, pulled up the simulation replay, and started walking him through it. Here your commander sees an opportunity to flank our left wing and cuts toward it. Clean move, tactically correct. Our captain on that wing doesn't defend. She retreats, pulls your ships forward, draws your center out of position. Your commander is winning that engagement. He's also being steered. She skipped forward. Here your flagship moves to finish our crippled destroyer. Correct call. That destroyer was also broadcasting targeting data for the next 4 minutes before it lost power. You won that exchange and lost the battle. Severus stared at the replay. Every engagement, Nakamura said quietly. Your commanders are playing the game in front of them. Our commanders are playing the game 3 moves from now, and they're completely comfortable losing the current moment to own the next one. She looked at him. You can't simulate that. You can't train for it by running scenarios, because the instinct underneath it isn't tactical, it's psychological. What instinct? Severus asked. Nakamura picked her coffee back up, considered the question with genuine thoughtfulness. We've been losing since before we could walk, she said finally. Outweighed, outrun, outsized by basically everything that wanted to eat us for most of our evolutionary history. We didn't survive by winning fights. She looked out at the empty simulation floor, at 10,000 losses rendered in holographic light. We survived by making the fight hurt so much that winning it wasn't worth the cost. A small shrug. We've just been doing it with spaceships lately. Severus stood in silence for a long moment. Can it be taught? He asked. Nakamura smiled. And it was the kind of smile that carried a long answer compressed into something short. Not in a simulation, she said. Follow and share this story for more sci-fi shorts and drop a comment telling us what you would name humanity's fleet doctrine.